We knew him only briefly. But in that spring and summer of 1980, Terry Fox brought a nation to its feet in awe of a young man from Port Coquitlam, BC, who had a dream.
And I decided after my year and a half of chemotherapy that I'd try and run across Canada and raise as much money as I could for the Canadian Cancer Society and try and help out these people.
The Marathon of Hope begins to capture the attention of Canada and the world. The solitary figure who started in relative obscurity, plodding through the snows and rains of Newfoundland, soon is attracting crowds of people by the roadside, in city squares, at local plazas, all of them anxious to get a glimpse of a young man turned hero. September the 1st, 1980. After 143 days and 3,339 miles, the Marathon of Hope is over. In pain and bitter disappointment, Terry Fox is forced to abandon his run.
The cancer had spread, and now I've got cancer in my lungs. And we got to go home and try and do some more treatment. But all I can say is if there's any way I can get out there again and finish it, I will.
But he couldn't. On June 28th, 1981, Terry Fox is dead. As tributes pour in, Ontario, which had witnessed the last days of Terry's historic run, begins planning its own memorials.
And I'm pleased, on behalf of the Premier, Mr. Speaker, to announce today that with the approval of his parents, the last 50 miles of the Trans-Canada Highway between Thunder Bay and Nipigon, which Terry Fox completed, will be renamed the Terry Fox Courage Highway.
In addition, the Ontario Cabinet decides a lookout point, close to where Terry ended his marathon, will be renamed the Terry Fox Scenic Lookout. A search soon uncovers the Marathon of Hope t-shirt tied to a post at the point where Terry stopped. A special committee headed by James Snow, Ontario's Transportation and Communications Minister, is organized. Plans are drawn up, and work begins quickly on what is to be a granite base and bronze statue of the young man who ran in the name of cancer research. A foundation reaching below the frost line to 23 feet is poured before winter sets in and covered to protect it from the coming snows. MTC workers clear the site. On the Terry Fox Courage Highway, work crews widen the road to allow easy access to the site. The affection and tributes Terry received in life continue after his death. In Oakville, an artist is inspired to sculpt an image of the young runner, and his work is brought to the attention of the Ontario Cabinet. With their support, Manfred Pirwitz works to create a larger-than-life bronze replica that eventually will stand more than 9 feet high and weigh more than half a ton. Working from pictures, Manfred begins molding, shaping, and carving a clay figure in late October 1981, trying to capture the familiar halting stance of the one-legged runner. As the frost lifts, bulldozers prepare for an extended parking lot to accommodate an anticipated influx of visitors. The land, a donation from the city of Thunder Bay. Meanwhile, in Vermont, the arduous process of obtaining 45 tons of granite for the statue's base begins. In the quarry, one of North America's largest, a combination of furnace oil, compressed air, and water, reaching temperatures in excess of 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit, cuts the granite free from the mountain. Compressed air drills then separate the huge blocks into smaller pieces. These are then lifted by derricks and placed on waiting trucks. It was in the hours before light that Terry had headed out each day to begin his run. Similarly, in his studio, Manfred uses the hours of darkness to avoid interruptions as he begins applying a plaster cast to his completed clay figure. Layers of wax are built up inside the statue's 20 sections. Now the plaster can be removed, freeing the wax forms for the next step. Each section is dipped repeatedly into a ceramic slurry, which acts as an adherent for the waiting sand. A funnel attached to each section will allow the bronze to flow into the mold's thinner sections. In all, Manfred repeats the process 9 times for each piece. The coated sections are then fired in a kiln where the wax melts away. This leaves a hard ceramic shell into which the molten bronze is poured. Only now, using his own special technique, can Manfred begin welding the 20 sections together. Back in the Vermont quarry, work continues on the granite as drills and plugs break it into usable pieces. 1/3 of the granite will be discarded or sent off for industrial use. The granite sections are then trucked to a site in nearby Quebec. Here the base is cut by a 9-foot-high diamond saw. Other drills split the granite into working pieces that will form side columns for the bronze memorial. And the granite is shaped to specifications set out by the Ontario Monument Dealers Association, who designed the base. In the studio, Manfred polishes and accentuates details on the final bronze figure. Almost a year after the young hero's death, finishing touches are put on the statue as fire burns off any debris left on the half-ton figure. Manfred, after more than 1,000 hours of work, hopes his statue will be 2 things: a reminder of the courage we so admired, an inspiration for generations to come. In Orillia, stencils for the monument's bridge are drawn as artists depict the maple leaf and beaver, a map of Canada, and the coats of arms of the provinces and territories. The stenciled artwork is then carefully applied to the monument's bridge, where delicate sandblasting will transfer the images to the granite. Fine chiseling by hand completes the design. The same process is used for the supporting columns on which words for and by Terry Fox are etched. Included is a list of the many awards bestowed upon him, among them his country's highest honor, the Order of Canada.
Terry's example has, in turn, given new courage to those across the land who struggle against disease and infirmity. By his disregard for his own pain and by his devotion to a great cause, Terry embodies the motto of the Order of Canada, Desiderantes Meliorum Patriam. They desire a better country.
I'm not a very poetic person, but I call to mind two lines from Edwin Markham's A Conscripted Dream. Brave soul that took the long and painful road and helped create a dream that could not fail. That's you.
At the lookout site, workers take the precious cargo from the trucks. First the bases, then the granite bridge with the provincial and territorial coats of arms stretching across its top, depicting the nation's symbols east to west. A waterproof seal is measured and fitted snugly to each section. Carefully, one of the side columns is maneuvered into place. And finally, the statue. As MTC staff supervise, the massive bronze figure is placed atop its granite support. The months of work now over, the memorial is draped with protective coverings and left to await the official opening. June 26, 1982. The Terry Fox Scenic Lookout is unveiled in a public celebration. Terry's parents and family arrive from British Columbia, joining local reeves. Provincial Cabinet Minister Leo Bernier, Thunder Bay Mayor Walter Asseff, along with Ontario's Lieutenant Governor John Black-Aird, Governor General Edward Schreyer, Premier William Davis, and James Snow, the Master of Ceremonies and the minister responsible for the memorial's construction. Family and dignitaries take their place on the dais, the still-covered statue behind them. All there in memory of the young man who had inspired such hope with each plodding step.
Ladies and gentlemen and children, and welcome to the Terry Fox.
As the ceremony begins, James Snow draws special attention to Betty and Rolly Fox before signaling remarks to begin.
This is for
First,
us
Premier William Davis on behalf of Ontario.
a very unique occasion. But I would like to suggest one or two things. That the memorial to Terry, which we are unveiling today, is not a statement about the past. It is, I would like to believe, a statement about the future.
Then Governor General Schreyer.
The Honorable Mr. Snow, Your Honor, Lieutenant Governor Aird, Mr. Premier, members of the Fox family, distinguished platform guests, my fellow Canadians. It is for me a very memorable, yes, even awe-inspiring occasion to join with the Lieutenant Governor and Premier Davis on this occasion.
Just 2 days before the first anniversary of his death, Terry Fox is once again honored by family, by friends, and by a host of grateful Canadians. With the young hero's record of achievement carved in granite, the site now remains open to everyone. Terry Fox stands in perpetuity above the waters of Lake Superior, gazing towards his western home. A third of the journey still stretching before him.